Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie Bree, and I have talked a lot about my previous years with Nintendo. And in these conversations, talking about video games, I've mentioned more than once that the Nintendo GameCube is my favorite game console of all time. That's not to say the GameCube has the greatest software library of all time. It's just I got way more enjoyment out of my GameCube than I have ever out of any other game console I've ever owned. So I figured now's a good time to put together my list of the top 25 greatest Nintendo GameCube games. So, uh, this is based off of games I owned and played, and how much joy I got out of my GameCube back in the day, and games I would probably buy, assuming I ever won the fucking lottery and can buy another GameCube again. Jesus Christ, they're so expensive. But anyways, number 25 is Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. Now, yes, I did have the trilogy. I had all three of them, and I played them all. I never beat any of them. I never put that much into them. But I played the Sands of Time more than the others, and it was a damn fine game. It's a good action adventure game for the GameCube, and this was one of those games that really, told GameCube owners, we made the right choice buying a GameCube. You jerks who bought the Wii U, right here, that was me, didn't have a game of this caliber to point to. You were stuck with fucking Nintendo Land and rubbish like that. So I'm sorry. But anyways, Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, pretty good game. Number 24 is Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2. This is a direct sequel. Excuse me. To the popular Nintendo 64 game in the same franchise. I would argue this is the better game because, I had them both, and this is the one I played the most. Rogue Squadron 2 is basically Rogue Squadron on the GameCube. It's more of the same. Damn fine campaign mode. You get to fly X-Wings and snow speeders and, other rebel craft, and you get to blow up bad guys. What more do you fucking want? The next three games are going to be less of a surprise than these two. Those first two were probably head scratchers for some folks. But these are all in the same series, but they're going to go in order of least interesting to most interesting, starting with Resident Evil 2, which is basically the PS1 game on the GameCube, more or less, which was also on the N64. So nothing special. It's just another way to play Resident Evil 2, which is a fine fucking game. Don't get me wrong. Number 22, I classify this one as just a step above Resident Evil 2, even though the game itself isn't as good as Resident Evil 2. As a GameCube game, this one's a little bit better just because it's tailored for the GameCube. And this is Resident Evil Remake, R-E-Make. This is the GameCube graphically enhanced remake of the first Resident Evil game, which, again, does exist on the PlayStation 1 in two versions. The D-pad version and the DualShock version. Take your pick. Get the DualShock version. Come on. Anyways. But I had a lot of fun with this one. And number 21, for a lot of people, would probably be higher on the list. But this is my list, and you'll understand when you see the rest of the list. Or if you watch any of my other videos, you know what kind of games I like. So number 21 is Resident Evil 4. And yes, I did have it on the GameCube. I got it on launch day and played the hell out of it until I was able to get the Wii edition, which was pretty fucking good too, but that's another list for another day. If there even are 25 games worth of shit on the Wii, we'll see. But Resident Evil 4, you know this, I know this, we all know this, a damn fucking good game. Number 20 is the very first game I ever pre-ordered in my entire life. Because I saw previews for it, videos online. I believe IGN, most likely. Maybe 1UP back in the day when they still existed. And I read about it in magazines, and I really wanted this game. And this is Gun. Now, I know Gun is on other consoles, but this is the GameCube list, and Gun is a good game on the GameCube. Probably, maybe the only Western themed game on the GameCube, but certainly the best Western themed game on the GameCube. Number 19 is a late entry in the software library, and it was a late purchase for me. But once I got it, it kept my GameCube going for a good long while. And this is Midway's Arcade Treasures Volume 2. Specifically Volume 2 because this is the one with the Mortal Kombats on it. Volume 1, don't get me wrong, it's an okay game. Volume 3, don't even bother. It's just racing games and they all suck. But Volume 2, damn good game. Number 18, I may lose some people here, but whatever. This is Shadow the Hedgehog. I love Sonic games. This is still technically kind of sort of a Sonic game. But this was an interesting Sonic game in that it did things that hadn't previously been done in the Sonic franchise before. And I was right okay with that. Number 17 is Mario Party 4. Now, I will not go so far as to say I've played every Mario Party that exists, because I haven't. But I played 1 through 8. And of the first 8, Mario Party 4 is hands down perfection. It's the best one. It's my go-to Mario Party. It's the only one I actually really, really like besides the original. And if I ever get a GameCube, it'll be one of the first games I buy. Number 16 was a game I held on to for the longest time. It was the very first game I got with my GameCube. I specifically bought the bundle that came with this game. It was a very, very special bundle. It was not cheap. But unfortunately, my disc was lost or stolen. Either lost in one of my moves or stolen when the asshole who stole my Wii U stole my Wii U. It probably got stolen then, is most likely what happened. Because it disappeared and I don't have it anymore. This is the Legend of Zelda Collector's Disc. This is a pretty fucking cool disc because it gives you the complete game of the original NES Zelda 1 and 2. And it gives you the complete game of the N64 Zelda Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. But it also gives you a preview demo, a playable demo, of the Wind Waker, which was the GameCube at the time exclusive, new Zelda, and it has a Zelda retrospective little video you can watch that's pretty fun and neat. So this is a pretty good game. I highly recommend it if you got the clams to shell out for it. Number 15 is a weird-ass game that I happen to enjoy a lot on the GameCube. I got it for nothing because it wasn't like an A+, AAA game, as they say, but it was still fun. This is Dr. Muto, again, made by Midway, back when they were more experimental than they are these days. And it's a pretty fucking game. You're basically a mad scientist, and it's sort of a 3D platformer of sorts, but you know what? It's still fun. Number 14 is the only game in this franchise that I've ever played, so I can't comment on the quality of the franchise. And it's the closest thing you're going to get to MechWarrior on the GameCube. It's Robotech Battlecry. I put a lot of hours into this game, and this is a rock solid fucking game. Number 13 is a game that I know is going to confuddle some people, but again, I like Nintendo games. I do. I like Mario games. I like 3D platformers. And this was one of the better 3D platformers on the GameCube. Not the best, obviously. Those may or may not be coming. But this is Wario World. So Wario World is kind of sort of a N64, Super Mario 64 style 3D platformer, loosely based on the Wario Land games. And I say loosely, but you know what? It's still a fun game. Number 12 is a game I played a lot. I played this game multiplayer. This had the split screen, not split screen, but drop in, drop out multiplayer, I believe. But this was a pretty goddamn good game, and I played a lot of it. And I haven't seen this on a lot of people's lists, which is unfortunate. But this is X-Men Legends 2 Apocalypse or Age of Apocalypse. I don't remember, but a good game. It's a role-playing action-adventure game starring the X-Men characters. And it's a fucking awesome game. Now, I'm not 100% if number 11 is an exclusive to the GameCube or not. I believe it may have been at one time. It might have been a timed exclusive. I don't know. But when I got it, it was I believe it was exclusive to the GameCube, and I played the shit out of it. And this is by Capcom, and it's another platformer. This one's called Beautiful Joe. It's very unfortunate that this game hasn't been revived, or this franchise hasn't been revived. So I am very curious how it did sales-wise. Number 10 on my list is obviously going to make sense based on what I've already told you. And another game already on this list. This is Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. This is a direct sequel to Sonic Adventure, which started on the Dreamcast but was ported to the GameCube. It's just a fun game. I love everything about it. Moving on. Number 9 has been remastered or reissued or re-released in some capacity on more modern systems, as well as sequels. And number 9 is Luigi's Mansion. This, I do believe, was a launch title or launch window title. And this was one of the games that sold me on the GameCube pre-launch. This was one of the games I was anticipating getting a GameCube to play. And I was not disappointed. So, yeah, I had a lot of fun with Luigi's Mansion. Number 8, for a lot of Nintendo gamers, this would be higher on the list. If this was a certain other Nintendo game console, this would absolutely be higher on the list. But there's some other games that beat this one out. This is Super Mario Sunshine. Now, I have to be upfront with you. I did want Super Mario Sunshine. This was a game that I was anticipating because I loved Super Mario 64. And I bought it as soon as it was available to buy. I didn't hesitate. I took it home, I played it, and my first reaction is, what the fuck am I playing? So I was immediately turned off. But I thought to myself, you know what, give it a chance. And I did give it a chance. So like I said, I did give it a chance. And you know what, I really liked it for a good while. It's not my favorite of the 3D Marios, but I like it a lot more than Galaxy, I'll say that. Number 7 was an absolute, at the time, GameCube exclusive. Now, it has been re-released, reissued, remastered, etc. on subsequent modern consoles. It's a damn fucking good game. It was an original game for the GameCube, meaning this is where the franchise originated. And at the time, it was quirky as fuck and fun as hell and just pure raw Nintendo magic. This is Pikmin. Now, in my opinion, I have played some of the sequels, and my opinion is none of them really captured the magic of that first game. I won't go so far as to say it probably shouldn't have got sequels, but you know what? I could do without the sequels myself, so it is what it is. Number 6 is Sonic Adventure DX. You knew Sonic, I'm a Sega gamer. You knew Sonic was going to make up this list. Between the two franchises, I do generally prefer Mario to Sonic, but at the same time, I will say I've never played a bad Mario game. I've personally never played a bad Sonic game. I haven't played every Sonic game that exists, so make of that what you will. But Sonic Adventure DX was a fucking awesome game. Again, this was one of the first 2 or 3 games I bought for the GameCube. Might have even been my first or second game I bought for the GameCube. The Zelda disc coming with the GameCube. But I played the shit out of this game. In fact, this wasn't the very first game I ever beat completely, but this was the very first video game I ever did 100%. And I am very okay with having 100% of this game. Yes, it has been re-released on multiple other consoles. In fact, I own it on more modern consoles. I have it on PS3. That's how I play it today, because the GameCube is not money friendly. Number 5 is a very specific game to the GameCube. Now, caveat, this game does exist on the PS2, as do a lot of games on this list. And for the most part, the GameCube games are more or less comparable to their PS2 counterparts. This is probably the only exception where I will say the GameCube game is decidedly better than the PS2 version, for a lot of reasons. The game is Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life. Now, we're not just talking graphics and performance issues with the PS2 version compared to the GameCube version. The GameCube version gives you more content up front, specifically an entire field of dirt that you can plant crops in, that the PS2 version makes you buy, and it's not cheap, so you got to put a lot of hours into the game before you can get the land that you're gonna use to make all your money. It's kind of fucking pointless. Also, this game is unique on the GameCube version, at least, in that if you have Harvest Moon Friends of Mineral Town on the Game Boy Advance, and you happen to have the Game Boy Advance link cable, as I did, there is some pretty nifty GBA to GameCube connectivity between the two games on this game, which makes it worth it, in my opinion, if you can, jump through all the hoops to get to it. Which, makes it better than the PS2 version. I played about 6 or 7 different Harvest Moon games, spreading all generations: Super Nintendo, N64, GameCube, PS2, Wii, Switch, PS4. You know what? As far as I'm concerned, this is my Harvest Moon. Number 4, I am pretty sure if it wasn't the first game I bought, was the second game I bought, but it might have been my first game I bought. Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance was the best Mortal Kombat game I had ever played up to that point. Excuse me. And I'm going to be frank, it was the last Mortal Kombat game I've enjoyed, and yes, I've played them all at least up to X. I haven't played 11 or the new one yet. But all the ones that came after it that I have played weren't as good. Deadly Alliance to me is the definitive peak Mortal Kombat. Number 3 is, or at least was at one time, a GameCube exclusive. It is a Nintendo title. It's one of the best games on the GameCube. It's probably one of the games you bought your GameCube for when you did buy a GameCube, if you ever owned one. If you have one to this day, you probably have this game or want it. It has been re-released on other systems. So like I said, at the time it was a GameCube exclusive, but it no longer is. This is one of the few GameCube originators that has been modernized by Nintendo, so kudos to them for that, because there is a market for it. This is Metroid Prime. Metroid Prime is the only, I will say, first-person shooter, although it's more accurately first-person adventure, but we'll say the only first-person shooter game I've ever completed. And I loved the fuck out of this game, and I played the shit out of it. I did have the enhanced version on the Wii. Not as good. I preferred the GameCube version. I like the, actual console controls versus the Waggle Wand motion controls. They suck. But yeah. Number 2, I know is going to ruffle feathers because a lot of people put this at the top of their shit list. But you know what? This middle finger is for those people. This is a damn good game. And look, I can show you on the Web Archive Wayback Machine magazine articles and discussion forums, people saying this was a good fucking game when it came out. And people loved it when it came out. And then the thing happened, and then after the thing happened, all of a sudden this game sucks and has always sucked, and then people started shitting on it, and then they retconned their memories to be all like, oh yeah, I never liked that game, even though they were always talking about how much they liked it. So, you know, that middle finger's for you people. This is Star Fox Adventures. Don't bullshit me. You did too buy this game, and you liked it until Nintendo sold Rare to Microsoft. Don't fucking tell me you didn't, you asshole lion sack shit. Because I know you did. Everybody did. This was one of the this was the Zelda game on the GameCube until Wind Waker came on. And people did a complete reversal with Wind Waker. Everyone was like talking shit about it until Twilight Princess came out, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, actually, I have always loved Wind Waker, fingers crossed. Bullshit, you did. Everybody hated Wind Waker, which is why it ain't on this list. So if you're thinking this was going to be number 1, it ain't. Star Fox Adventures is how we got our Zelda fix on the GameCube. Nobody fucking played Wind Waker until the Wii U. So, yeah. And that was because I had nothing else to play on the Wii U. Their back was against the wall. They were like, fuck it. I guess I'll play Wind Waker. There was nothing else to play. Number 1 will not surprise a single living human creature on the face of the earth, because it's literally every single Nintendo GameCube owner's number 1 game. It's the best-selling game on the GameCube, which is, you know, a spoiler. It's Super Smash Bros. Melee. This is still the de facto Smash Bros. For a lot of people. Peak Smash Bros. Up until Ultimate came out on the Switch, this was probably the best Smash Bros. Now, obviously, I've never played Ultimate on the Switch because I sold my Switch just before this game came out. But like I said, it was due to financial reasons, not because, you know, I didn't love the Switch. So there it is, my top 25 Nintendo GameCube games. If you can go back to the Wayback Machine and screenshot a fucking Nintendo Life forum post of you saying you didn't like Star Fox Adventures and it's dated before the Rare sale, alright, I'll believe you. But if you can't do that, I ain't buying it. Because I was there on those forums. Everybody loved that goddamn game until the day Nintendo sold Rare to Microsoft. And then they fucking flipped on it.